If you guys want to win this book, signed by Ryan Hall, stick around to the end to learn how you guys can do that. If you have not already, check out my video from last week to learn how you can win something from Natasha Rogers, who's one of Sara Hall's biggest competitors in the 10K. You have about another week to do that, so definitely get on top of that. Alright, sorry about that guys, really quickly, I'm going to drop the card for Natasha's video right in the card above the video so you guys can check that out. Hey guys, welcome back to Coaching with Coffee. I'm really excited to bring you guys two of the fastest American marathon runners out there. We have Ryan Hall and Sara Hall. Obviously they're married. Ryan is actually coaching Sara after his retirement from running. And Sara Hall is actually killing it right now. She just ran 2:22 in the Berlin Marathon, coming into the Olympic trials ranked second for the marathon. But unfortunately had a bad day out there on the course and was unable to make it to the Olympics during those trials. Still super humble about it. If you guys want to check out this Instagram post right here, I'm also going to link that in the description, or link her Instagram in the description, so you guys can also just read it, or you can hit the pause button really quick because that's going to disappear pretty soon here. But basically, I mean, we're going to be talking about Ryan's book and then also Sara's plans for the future, what she's doing currently. We met them in Crested Butte. I was doing this interview with Ashton, as you guys may have seen a couple of Coaches with Coffees ago. He's the guy who runs 120 miles a week. Great marathon guy. He just started in the marathon, but we kind of took turns interviewing them just a little bit. We made a road trip up to Crested Butte together, and he's kind of my connection to meet them, and it was an awesome interview. I thought that it turned out really well. Excuse my kind of beginning portion of the interview. I'm saying a lot of ums and stumbling over words and stuff. I couldn't quite get in the rhythm. We already took up a lot of their time. We were kind of late because we couldn't find parking in Crested Butte, so we were kind of late to the interview. So I didn't want to take up any more time for them, and I got all flustered and whatnot. So it is a little bit rough start, but it gets better, I promise. All right, let's coach with coffee. All right, guys, welcome back to Coaching with Coffee. I'm not in frame right now because I'm behind the cameras. But today we've got Ryan Hall and Sara Hall, his wife, and we're both professional marathoners at one point. And then Sara Hall is still running. And Ryan's actually now into weightlifting. You can kind of tell he looks a little bigger than a standard runner. But we're going to talk today a little bit about Ryan Hall's book, and then also maybe what Sara's looking at doing as well. More recently with her running career. But Ryan's gotten way into weightlifting. He started out as a marathon, or not started, but like when he was a professional runner, his primary event was half marathon, holds the American record in the half marathon, and has run 2:04 in the marathon as well, which is, I guess, also kind of an American record.
Fastest marathon ever run is how we can say it properly. It's unofficial.
I guess
record.
Yeah. Sure. So, as we kind of go, we're going to start with your book then, to kind of really get things started. And as we were kind of on the drive up here, we listened to the audiobook. It's a great book for any type of runner. Even if you're not religious in any way, it's great insight on everything that would be like inside of a marathon or a professional marathoner's mind, and he has great philosophy. He's like a sports psychologist without a degree. If you ask me. Sure. So
degree in running.
Yeah, degree in running. So to start off, you guys, like in the book, or you mentioned something about your goals. So your goals are, or you have a chapter all on goals, I guess. You call them miles, like mile 1, 2, and there's 26 chapters or miles. So in one of the chapters or miles, you talk about goals, and you have like process goals and outcome goals essentially. Do you want to go a little bit more into those? Because you call them something different. But.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, goals, they're such a driving thing for athletes. Like any runner, it doesn't matter what level you are, it's always helpful to have a goal, right? Like something to get up out of bed and be like, this is what I'm going after. And so that's what I had as a kid growing up, and I had very tangible physical goals. Yeah, so I had like really tangible goals, and I'd write them in cement every year. This was when I was in high school. But what I found is a little bit unsatisfying because I didn't have complete control over whether I could accomplish those goals. So no matter how hard I trained, how dialed I was with my sleep, my nutrition, every part of my training regimen, sometimes I just wasn't good enough and couldn't hit the goal, right? And that was devastating for me as a kid coming up in the sport. So I had to kind of change, like, well, how can I set goals that I know I can accomplish every single time out and that is fulfilling at the same time? So that's where my goals kind of shifted away from. It's not that I didn't have time goals and I didn't want to win races and qualify for Olympic Games and set American records and do that stuff, because I did. Those were goals, but those were no longer kind of the primary goals. So the goal has shifted now to like, what do I know I can accomplish and what is important that I accomplish today? And that's always like what's going on inside of you. So like, I'm a follower of Jesus, and he's all about like change from the inside out and living from the inside out. So I knew that like, if I could change and refine and purify what's going on inside of here, it's gonna be manifested in my running in a physical way that's gonna actually be helpful, performance enhancing in a physical way as well. So, you know, I just set like goals, I call them goals of the heart in my book. And so, you know, sometimes that would be like running with peace, and I'm just focused on just being like filled with peace, and I'm not going to be rattled by slow splits and the race not playing out the way I want it to play, or the weather not being out. Like, I'm going to be really focused on just like cultivating peace inside me, and that's going to bubble out inside me. So that's kind of like one example. And it would change from race to race. And like I said, I still had physical goals, right? And like, it's the same now with my lifting. Like, I still have like really tangible goals, numbers that I want to hit. But my primary goal is like still what's going on inside of here, and it's about me trying to like continue to improve both inside and outside, but knowing that like what happens on the outside is manifested from what's going on inside of here. So it's addressing the heart more than like the physical.
Sarah, do you have a take on goals or something you want to add maybe too?
Yeah, you know, I think I see goals as like something that it's like keeps you having aim, but not something you want to hold too tightly to. So for me, I like to write very tangible goals like on my mirror. And I actually last season, I wrote my goals for the year on my mirror, and at the time that I wrote those, I was in the middle of my longest injury of my whole running career. I had this peroneal tendon injury that lasted a really long time, and then went straight into, when I got back, was compensating and had a stress fracture, my very first stress fracture. So it was a really long string of injury, and so to try to keep myself motivated during that time and focused, I wrote my goals, which were like 222 in Berlin, 69, sub 69 and a half, making the Olympic team. I think there's one other thing, but anyways, I did end up running 222 in Berlin, and the 69 and a half took me a little longer till Houston in January, but it was neat to see my kids, like, they saw me write those, and they saw me dragging myself to the gym when I was hurt and doing the things I didn't want to do. And so when I got home from running Berlin, they wrote all over the mirror like, good job, and like check mark off the 222, and like, and you know, and so it was a really great example of goals, showing them goal setting and how that can be a really positive thing. And I didn't hit every goal, you know, I didn't make the Olympic team, and it's kind of like you just write new goals. Like it's not really about necessarily the outcomes, but it's just something to keep you on track and keep you focused. So
nice. That's what, like, she pretty much raced me in a marathon. 222, that's crazy. But I guess, are you shooting for the 10K in the trials at all, or?
Yeah, I'll probably be getting back on the track now that I make the team and go for the marathon or the track trials. And I haven't run track in 4 years. I'm probably gonna, as soon as there is a track race, do something, hopefully this summer. I was hoping to get on the track this spring, but everything got canceled. So yeah, I've been doing really good track work, but at the same time, I do love the marathon most. That's really where my heart is. So I'm not gonna just focus on track between now and the trials. I'll probably run at least a marathon. So yeah.
When it comes to, like, say, noticing signs of fatigue and stuff like that, what is your approach to best combat that, like make it come back and not totally slip away.
I think it's really important that runners figure out what kind of tired are they. So like I have like a Run Free podcast, and one episode is all about like what kind of tired are you, because like I'm coaching athletes now, and I was just texting with one of my athletes the other day. I'm like, listen, like you're supposed to feel a little bit tired, like you're in heavy training right now. Like I don't want you feeling like $1 million in every single workout. I do want you to feel like you're absorbing the training. So I think in running, it's really tempting as an athlete to just look at today. And today I felt like trash, my legs are trash, and now like everything's gonna go poorly from here, and I'm on this downward spiral, and like the whole world is collapsing. And that's why it's helpful to have a coach who can be like, well, let's just see like how you feel in the next workout, you know, like let's look at the big perspective. And I think for runners, that's what they need to learn to do, is how am I trending? How are my workouts trending? Are they getting better and better? Are they getting worse and worse? And I always like flip it and look at it as a positive thing too. If you can have a good workout when you're not feeling fresh and you're not feeling good, then man, like imagine how you're gonna feel when you start tapering up. But you do want to like pay attention to the signs of fatigue. If you're not sleeping well at night, that's a big red flag. You can track your heart rate, that shoots up in the morning. Although I haven't used that consistently with my athletes or training, just I haven't found it to be a real important measure of how well you're recovering. I look more at workout qualities. That's the number one thing I'm looking at. But you always want to feel like I'm absorbing the training. It's okay to feel dead tired the next day after workouts. But in workouts, I want my athletes typically feeling like solid, you know? Like I feel like solid. I had a good session, good strong session. And then, you know, you're gonna have your occasional days where you feel amazing, you blow it out of the water, but your perception as a runner cannot be like, I'm gonna feel amazing every single workout. Like, that's almost always when I got myself in trouble when I was running, is when I expected to feel really good, and then you get out there and your expectations aren't met. Whereas, like, if you're in heavy training, sometimes you're like, oh man, I'm probably gonna feel like trash today. And then you go and like stomp a workout, even though like you didn't feel good warming up. So I think your perception is also something you gotta pay attention to, and just knowing it's okay to feel a little tired, a little bit fatigued. But if your workouts are trending worse and worse for two weeks, a month, that's when you gotta pull the plug, take some rest, take some time off, stop your workouts for a while, and really address like what's going on. Yeah, there's some crazy stat about how being like 1% dehydrated makes you like performance drop by like 10%.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, hydration is a huge issue.
Yeah, that's like one of the most important, most forgotten nutrients.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that was a game changer for me when I started drinking 20 ounces of water every morning first thing. And you know, we just always have water on us. We're just always drinking, even though I'm not running professionally. I just feel better. I don't get headaches and stuff. And
I mean, that's how what your cells need to function and everything. Without that, you're just gonna tank.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so let's dive right back in that book then and kind of talk about another chapter that you have. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was one where you're talking about doing the 7 marathons in 7 different continents. And this is after you retired from running, so professional running.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little more about that, how that experience was?
Yeah, this was really fun for me because, you know, how I experienced running was always from the professional end of things, and it was my lifestyle. You know, it was like 20 years in the making of super hard training to run the Boston Marathon that year, you know, and run super fast. So it was kind of fun to get to experience marathon without, I hadn't even trained for this event. So 7 marathons, 7 days, 7 continents. So you run a marathon, you start in Antarctica, hop on an airplane, fly to Miami, run a marathon, hop on it. So, you know, we're just traveling. We had 2 nights in a hotel the whole week. Otherwise, you're sleeping on the airplane. But it's cool because I didn't train for it at all. My longest run leading up to that was 8 miles. My weekly mileage was, I'd run 3 days a week, so I was probably hovering around 20 miles a week. And then that challenge was 187 miles, plus you're flying around the globe, you know? And I learned that I can get through anything. So I tell people, like, no matter, you might think, like, I could never run a marathon, but if you can run 8 miles, like, you can run a marathon. And most people, like, you can get through a marathon if you want to. The question is, how do you want your experience to be? So, like, if you want it to be fun and enjoyable, then you need to train for it. And the more you train for it, the more enjoyable it's going to be. For me, I got a stress reaction on day 5 in Morocco. because I was running 20 miles a week. But what was interesting about this trip is I was actually getting in better shape as the week was going on. So I started out, I think my first marathon in Antarctica was like 3:40 or somewhere right around there. And that was the coolest one, to run on snow the whole time. And then by day 5 in Morocco, I ran like 3:04 or something. Now I was getting fitter and fitter, feeling better and better. I was like, I'm gonna roll the last 2 days. And then I was walking to lunch later after that marathon, and I was like, oh man, my hip's kind of messed up. And then the next day in Dubai, it was gone, and I ended up like walking, jogging the last 2 of them, and they were, my last one in Sydney was like 5.5 hours. Felt like I was out there for days. But you know, got through it, got to the finish line, and it was cool to get to like say goodbye to the sport in that way, because the way the sport ended for me is I just got super fatigued from training, racing super hard for so many years, and never got to say goodbye to marathoning. But with the World Marathon Challenge, that last marathon in Sydney, I got to take my shoes off at the finish line and leave them there and walk away from the sport. And just so grateful for everything that running has given me, and the community and the people that it's introduced me to, you know, like. So it was fun to get to like say goodbye to the sport that's given so much to me and that I loved so much for so many years. And you know, I'm still involved in the sport, still coaching Sarah, coaching athletes through Run Free training, and that's super fun for me to kind of live vicariously through other people. But not running a whole lot these days. I've run twice in 2020, but lifting every day and just loving doing something different with the lifting, new challenge and way to continue to grow and develop physically and challenge myself in a physical way. So yeah, super fun.
You want to go into a little more about that coaching then, like kind of what it's about, what you
Run Free's been super cool. It's kind of a continuation of my book. So my book, like I kind of share my story, all the big lessons I learned along the way, and just really like it's like me on a page, right? And then Run Free training is kind of like me and my friends who helped start it, and the coaches that we have implementing the actual strategy behind like my career, and also my coaches' individual strategies as well. And it's what makes Run Free training different is it's a holistic approach to running. So I've always said like running is not a hobby. If you're trying to perform at a relatively high level, you want to see how good you can be at the sport, it's got to be a lifestyle. It has to be holistic. So that's what makes Run Free training different, is we address everything from nutrition, weight training, you know, all the little things, foam rolling, and then obviously we do personal coaching, personal training that bends and flexes with the athlete from week to week. So it's a holistic approach to training. We address sleep, we address what's going on in your head, your heart through the Run Free podcast. So it's a complete package rather than like us sending you a week of training being like, good luck, like I hope you have every other area of your life dialed in. This is more like we're going to help you dial in everything, because we want to see how good you can get at this thing, and we're more interested in like helping people develop into complete healthy individuals rather than just like being phenomenal runners but then like their nutrition is just junk, you know, because you can't have junk nutrition and run at your very best. So that's kind of what Run Free training is all about. It's been super fun, you know, helping athletes and going over, like I go over their 3-day nutrition logs, and we have a very like complete athlete intake form where we address tons of questions, and there's a lot of interaction. So it feels like a, you know, a relationship that we're building through coaching athletes. So it's been super fun.
And Sarah, how is being coached by Ryan actually, since you are one of his athletes?
Yeah, it's been going well. I've run my best times being coached by Ryan, so he's a great coach. Highly recommend him. You know, we have our moments, like we're married, so you know, you're gonna have conflict at times. Like you don't have as much of a filter when you're married to the person as like a coach that's you're not married to, you know. So you know, that can be tricky at times, but for the most part, I think you want your coach to know everything about you, and Ryan knows, he sees everything I eat, he sees how I sleep, he sees, you know, he sees all of that, and he knows what makes me tick. He's like you said, this book is like sports psychology. Like Ryan's really good at the mental game, and really has helped me believe in myself, be confident in myself, and also you know, running is really spiritual to me as well. So I think connecting on that level has been huge, and so I think that's why I've been more successful under his guidance.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's out there. Run Free Training Podcast on Apple, probably Android.
Yep. Wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah, go listen to it. It's free therapy.
It is free, yeah. So that's the thing with Run Free Training. It's like, obviously, like, we have to pay our coaches and our staff. So, the training costs something, but then we also have what we consider to be the most important aspect is what's going on in your head and your heart, and that's free through the Run Free Training podcast. So we want everyone to have access to that and be able to listen to that.
All right, just to kind of sum it up then, what's you guys like number one tip for like marathoners then? Since you guys are both like, or you guys are pro marathoners.
Yeah. Want me to go first? I have mine. You can think about it. No. I was gonna say that.
All right, fine, you go.
No, go ahead. I want to see how you explain. Go ahead.
Well, Ryan's best advice is run the mile you're in. Is the advice he gave me in the marathon, and that is something that you really do have to focus on the mile you're running. I think in the marathon you can get psyched out when you think about how far you have to go and how you're already hurting, and you go through bad patches in the marathon. And so if you start mentally like going like, oh, it's all downhill from here, like even when I ran Berlin and I finished really like a negative split and finished my last, I think 5K was the fastest and stuff, then I even had a bad patch around halfway and stuff. So I think it's really important just to be present, and so yes, that's good advice.
Yeah, and I'll just add, there's joy in every moment, and this is something I'm trying to currently work on with myself, is learning some moments are a lot harder to find the joy than others, right? And like I have a lot of those moments on a daily basis where like I'm like, I know that like joy is possible right now, but I have to like go through the weeds of my thoughts and what's going on inside me to try and figure out like, why am I off right now? Why am I in a bad mood? And same thing is with running. Like sometimes like not every moment is pleasant and enjoyable, but I do think you can find joy in like every single moment of training, racing, but you're gonna have to dig for it sometimes and dig a lot harder than other times. And sometimes it's gonna be super easy to find the joy. Like we're here in Crested View, it's just like beautiful. We're out doing these runs, and it's not hard to find joy when you're out on these roads, just epic roads in the mountains at 9,000 feet. Like joy is just all around you. But there's other times where
maybe if you're here in the winter, it's like snow's going crazy and you're like out there in a snowstorm.
And it's so easy to get focused on like what you don't like about this current moment. But if I'm learning with myself, like, can I change how I'm seeing my perception, and can I focus on the good? Because something I've learned is what you focus on is going to increase. So when you're running, if you're going through a lot of pain, if you're focused on that pain, your perception of it is going to cause you to experience it more and more. And so the more you're focused on your pain, the more pain you're going to feel in your body. So you got to get outside yourself. You got to move the weeds and focus on what's good. And when you're focused on what is good, that's going to grow inside you. And it's going to make that moment so much more joy-filled than if you're focused on what's hurting, what's going wrong. So again, something I'm currently working on with myself. But it's so helpful when you get in those moments where you don't want to be there to be like, you know what, actually there is joy in this moment right now. And like, how can I access it? How can I find it?
Yeah, if you guys want more of that inside like look or his like kind of his mindsets, he actually goes over it all in the book. Like during his races, he goes through like thought processes and everything like that, or processes, however you pronounce it. But he'll go over all of that as well. And Sarah, do you have a book coming out? Because Ryan,
I don't right now. I thought about it. We'll see. I feel like my story's still being written, so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe eventually in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch you run still.
Oh, thanks.
Where do you guys want to go?
All right. Well, if you guys want to follow Ryan's podcast, we'll link that in the description below as well. And then also we're going to link his Instagram. And is there anything else you would like to be linked in there, like maybe the book link and everything too?
Yeah, book link would be great. Yeah, you can get the book on Amazon and wherever you get books at.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, that'd be great.
Great. Thanks.
Cool, thanks guys.
Hey, hope you guys enjoyed the interview as much as I did hosting it and producing it. If you guys want to win the copy of Run the Mile You're In, signed by Ryan Hall, then just drop your Instagram handle in the comments below. I can't really contact you through YouTube, so the best way to do it is through Instagram. Make sure you guys are following me on Instagram though at RRT. It's RRT_projects. But also I'll put that in the description below so you guys can just click on that really easily. So make sure you're following there. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. and you like the video. So those 3 things is how you're gonna win this book right here. If you guys still wanna win from last week, do the same thing, drop your Instagram handle in the comments below, and you can win from last week. But also there's another thing you have to do, so stick around to the end of that video to make sure you can win that as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah, again, make sure you subscribe, like, and follow me on Instagram. Drop that comment below as well. And we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.